Some stories are best told slowly. So settle in, lower the lights, and let your thoughts drift as we go back to a quiet city on the plains of Kansas, and a mystery that took more than 30 years to solve. Wichita, Kansas. The early 1970s. It is an ordinary place. Tidy lawns, church on Sunday, children riding bicycles until the streetlights come on. It is the kind of town where people leave their doors unlocked, because nothing ever happens here. And then, quietly, something does. A series of crimes begins. They are careful, they are methodical, and for a long time, no one understands that they are connected. The man behind them will later give himself a name. 3 letters that will come to haunt the city. Find, torture, kill, BTK. But this is not a story about what he did. The details are dark, and we will not linger there. This is a story about something stranger. It is a story about a man who could not stop talking, and about the small, ordinary mistake that finally undid him. Because BTK had a hunger that was almost as strong as his cruelty. He wanted attention. He wanted to be known. In 1974, he began to write. He left letters. He hid them in library books, in public places, in notes mailed to the newspaper and the police. He described his crimes. He gave himself his name. He wanted the world to watch. For investigators, these letters were a gift and a curse. A gift, because every word was a clue. A curse, because the man behind them was patient and disciplined and very, very careful. He typed. He photocopied. He left no fingerprints that mattered, no signature that could be traced. The detectives of Wichita built thick files and chased 1,000 leads, and slowly, the years began to pass. To understand him, you have to understand the strange need at the center of it all. He did not only want to escape. He wanted to be admired for escaping. He kept score. He saw the whole thing as a game between himself and the police, and he believed, with a quiet and unshakable certainty, that he was the smartest person in the room. That belief was his armor. In the end, it would also be the crack in it. And then, silence. By the early 1980s, the letters stopped. The case went cold. Detectives retired. New officers took their place. The children who had grown up locking their doors for the first time grew up and moved away and started families of their own. The city tried to forget. For more than a decade, it almost did. But some men cannot bear to be forgotten. In 2004, 30 years after it all began, a local newspaper published a story marking the anniversary of the unsolved case. And something in that story stirred an old, familiar hunger. BTK came back, not with violence, but with words. A letter arrived, then another. He was boasting again. He was reminding the world that he had never been caught. He wanted, once more, to be seen. The detectives now had something their predecessors never did. They had patience of a different kind, and they had technology. A new task force formed. They studied the old letters and the new ones. They looked for patterns, and they began, carefully, to talk back. Because BTK had a weakness, and the lead detective understood it perfectly. This was a man who craved a conversation. So the police gave him one. Through careful messages in the media, they engaged him. They flattered his sense of importance. And slowly, they drew him out. Then came the question that would end it all. In one of his communications, BTK asked the police something almost childlike. If he were to send them a computer floppy disk, he wanted to know, could it be traced back to him? Could they find him through it? The detective gave his answer in a quiet newspaper notice. No, he told him. It would be safe. It could not be traced. It was not true. In February of 2005, a purple floppy disk arrived. The man who had eluded the city for 30 years had finally, in his pride, handed the police a piece of himself. The disk had been wiped. To BTK, it looked clean. But deep inside the file, in a hidden layer of information that most people never see, the part of a document that quietly records who made it and where, 2 small details remained. A name, Dennis, and a place, Christ Lutheran Church. It took the investigators almost no time at all. They looked up the church. They found its website. And there, listed as the president of the congregation, a respected family man, a church leader, a former soldier, a local government worker who measured people's lawns for code violations, was a man named Dennis Rader. For 30 years, he had been hiding in plain sight. A husband, a father, a neighbor, the man you would never suspect. And he was undone not by a fingerprint, not by a witness, not by a dramatic chase, but by a few invisible lines of data on a disk he believed was safe. He was arrested on the 25th of February, 2005. During his long interrogation, he kept returning to the same disbelief. He had trusted the detective. He had believed the lie. The floppy, he admitted, was what did him in. He had gambled, and he had lost. In June, he pleaded guilty. 2 months later, he was sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms in prison, where he remains to this day. And so the story closes the way so many of these stories do. Not with a monster in the shadows, but with an ordinary man and an ordinary failing. Vanity, the need to be noticed, the quiet certainty that he was always one step ahead. For 30 years, BTK escaped the consequences of his cruelty. But he could not escape himself. He wanted to be known, and in the end, that wish was granted. Just not in the way he imagined. There is something almost gentle in the lesson, if you listen for it. The people who chase these mysteries do not always win with force. Sometimes they win with patience, with listening, with the willingness to wait years for a single, small mistake. The detective did not outrun his man. He simply understood him and waited for his pride to do the rest. So as the city of Wichita finally slept soundly again, the files were closed, one by one. The questions that had haunted a generation were, at last, answered. And now, with that quiet resolution settling over you, you can let the story go. Rest easy. The lights of the patrol cars have faded. The streets are calm. And somewhere in the records of an ordinary town, a 30-year mystery sits finished. Proof that even the most patient secrets, in time, are kept by no one forever. Sleep well.